I'm Vin Moscardelli, and I direct UConn's Office of National Scholarships and Fellowships. And I also have the privilege of coordinating the Holster Scholar Program. The Holster Scholar Program is a selective enrichment opportunity available only to first-year honors students here at the University of Connecticut. The program supports a small number of exceptional students as they pursue independent research, design, or creative projects in the summer following their first year. The program integrates the framework around which the UConn Honors Experience has been designed, a community of scholars who explore, create, and lead. More specifically, this program is built around 3 pillars: initiative, mentorship, and community. And this year I probably should add a 4th, because in the era of COVID, resiliency has turned out to be a pretty big deal as well. Initiative is illustrated at every stage of this process, but these projects are student-initiated, student-designed, and student-led. And all of the students you're going to meet this evening survived a long, arduous selection process that began all the way back in the fall of last year, when they first mustered up the courage to reach out to a faculty member, propose an original idea, and submit a complete application, all by our early November deadline. Each fall, a subset of the students who apply are selected as finalists, and they're invited to participate in a proposal development seminar that I teach in the spring. During that seminar, they refine and revise their proposals, they get to know their mentors better, and ultimately they submit a larger application in March. This is then followed by 2 rounds of rigorous interviews with our multidisciplinary committee of faculty, staff, and administrators, which selects the year's Holster Scholars. Scholars receive funding to support themselves and their project. Now, Holster Scholars are ambitious, but for the most part, this is still their first effort at a sustained, in-depth, original research, creative, or design endeavor. And so for this reason, the second thing we focus on in this program is mentorship. Faculty mentorship is vital to the experience because projects never go as planned, and faculty members are there to provide support as students face the inevitable difficulties that arise. Third, community. Students become part of a community, not just of peers, but of also recent alumni of the program. And when they accept their invitation to join the Holster Scholar Program, they promise to give back as peer mentors for the cohort that follows. This is an exciting year because tonight represents the culminating experience for our 10th cohort of Holster Scholars. 10 years, 10 cohorts of amazing students, ranging in size from just 6 back in 2012 to 11 each of the past 2 years. In that time, the program's provided just over $388,000 in support of 81 scholars, 69 different faculty mentors, 9 of whom have mentored more than 1 scholar, from 34 different departments representing the range of disciplinary diversity that exists at this great research university. Scholars have worked with faculty mentors in the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences and the College of Agriculture, Health, and Natural Resources, as well as the schools of business, fine arts, medicine, education, pharmaceutical sciences, and engineering. Their work has resulted in patents, publications, art installations, and life-saving community interventions both here and abroad. Holster Scholars have hailed from 8 different states, ranging from as far away as Coppell, Texas, to right here in Storrs, Connecticut. 3 out of every 4 graduated from high schools here in Connecticut, and they've gone on to win numerous nationally competitive scholarships and fellowships like the Marshall, the Mitchell, the Truman, the Udall. They've won National Science Foundation Graduate Research Fellowships and awards that are presented under the auspices of the Fulbright U.S. student program. And our alumni populate the best professional and graduate programs on the planet. But more importantly, they constitute a community of scholars. Holster isn't just something students do the summer after their first year. It's an identity that remains part of you and shapes your experience throughout your time at UConn, and even in many cases beyond. You know, when I talk to students, faculty, and staff about this program, one of the first misperceptions I always make a point of clearing up is that Holster is not a metaphor for anything. Instead, Holster is the name of our benefactors, Mr. and Mrs. Robert and Carlotta Holster, who I know are watching us here tonight. The program is the legacy of the Holster's gifts. They've made these projects possible. Now, Bob was a member of the first class of UConn students to graduate from the honors program, which celebrated its 50th anniversary just a couple of years ago. And his idea was to provide financial support to liberate a select group of UConn honors students to do what I like to call a deep dive into something they're passionate about early enough in their careers for it to potentially have an outsized effect on whatever path they wound up choosing. And that's exactly what it does. Listen to the way that past Holster scholars talk about the program. For example, the Holster Scholar Program was the catalyst that transformed my entire undergraduate experience at UConn. Or how about this one? Holster helped me delve into research early on, and I was able to learn so much through it, probably more than I learned in any of the other classes I took. During my medical school interviews, a lot of people asked me about the Holster Project and the resulting work that I did. This is a legacy. At the first event 10 years ago, then Honors Program Director Lynn Goodstein, the late Professor Lynn Goodstein, talked a lot about the legacy that this gift would leave. And 10 years later, the scope of that legacy is clearer than ever. This program makes an enormous difference in the lives of these students, and I'm so fortunate to be a part of it. So thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Holster, for making all of this possible.